Well, hey, thank you, Respecting Perspectives audience, for joining us today. And I have a super special guest here, a woman of many shoes. She is an yoga instructor, a singer, a model, so many different things that she's going to be able to talk about today. And I have Miss Katriella here.
Hello.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. All those different shoes that I just mentioned there. Tell me, do you have a favorite of any of those? Or
Oh, I couldn't possibly pick my favorite shoes.
you're too funny, dude.
No, I mean, I think singing has always been I was told my first sentence I sang. So I would say singing is like near and dear to me, but all of it I love, everything I've come to find in this life.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's see here. What was, out of all those shoes there, what was the first, so you said you sang your first sentence? That's really...
It was Happy Birthday.
Yeah, well, it was
Don't judge me for my choice of songs, but
And wait a second, do you remember that yourself or... No. Yeah, okay. So
it was what I was told, so
okay.
Who knows?
Oh, right. Maybe that was inspiration too. No, that's really cool actually. When I was younger, I used to play the violin, and that's kind of one of my first memories of music itself, so I can relate to that.
That's cool, the violin.
Yeah.
I can make one pretty note on it one time in my life, and I was so proud of myself.
Yes, there you go.
I was like, she told me, she's like, that didn't sound bad. I was like...
You're like, I might have a future in this. What was that? Just like a friend's violin or something?
Yeah, we were just jamming.
Yeah, so cool. Isn't it cool how like any instrument, like even if you don't know how to play it, you can still pick it up and try.
Of course.
Right?
To try everything.
Yeah, you need to. Gosh. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about when you were younger and kind of maybe where you grew up and what influenced some of the yoga and singing and things like that, if you could.
Yeah, I grew up in the DMV, so Maryland.
Okay.
And growing up, my mom signed me up for yoga when I was 7. So that cool. was the first time I ever heard of yoga. I feel like it wasn't as popular, and now it's super popular, But it was Iyengar yoga, which was really fun for a kid because I just remember they had these boards on the wall with rope, and you could hang on them. And I was a monkey bar kid, so I was like, I'm super down with that,
Monkey bar kid.
Monkey bar kid. I just lived there,
Right?
So I was like, okay, cool. I can hang on the walls here. So that was my first experience with yoga. And then my mom became a yoga instructor. I think she was more of a kids yoga instructor, but
okay.
So she worked at the studio, and then she got me into that studio, and I got basically private lessons because it was such a small studio. It was me and one other kid.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and it wasn't supposed to be private. It just turned out to be like that.
Yeah.
And I had these 2 really great teachers. I do not remember the guy's name. I feel so bad, but I do remember the girl's name because I thought she was really pretty. Her name was Angela.
Shout out to Miss Angela.
Shout out to Angela.
There.
She was so pretty. And she taught me all the the poses. We did handstands, and it's so easy when you're a kid to do a handstand,
right.
by the way.
Let
me just say.
That's a good point.
But, that was a really cool experience. I started working at birthday parties at that studio. It eventually shut down. But I think it really kind of inspired me to be I want to be like Angela one day.
Right.
I want to teach yoga.
You had something to look, you were like that. Yeah. The role model, possibly.
A role model. Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see here. Let's kind of stick with yoga. Give me a little bit about maybe some of the major things that you learned throughout yoga itself, and maybe some advice to some people out there who are thinking about doing it but not sure. Yeah, hit me with that.
I think a big misconception about yoga is that you have to be flexible and you have to be strong and you have to look fit. You can blame Yoga Magazine
right?
for that. No offense to Yoga Magazine. I mean, nothing wrong with that either, by the way.
For sure.
Because no shaming of any of that. But yoga is really just your own experience. It's about adjusting to your body, to your emotions, to your thoughts, and not the other way around.
Yeah.
You know?
I could see that. So you mean also like, I guess it doesn't matter what like body size you have, you know, I think it's never too late to stretch, right?
Yeah, it's never too late to stretch or to start meditating or any of that, you know?
Yeah.
And again, it's like your own experience is exactly how it's supposed to be, because yoga is only about your experience. It's not about what it looks like for me or what it looks like for you,
Yeah.
you know?
You know, I recently have been, I would say it's been like 2 years, and I have been about 10, 15 minutes in the morning. I will do some yoga, do some particular poses. I can't name them, unfortunately. But it'll be great in the morning. It'll really help me kind of just like invigorate everything, you know? And then there's times where like, you know, like I'll try something a little bit different, but I really do feel like it stimulates everything, and it kind of gets me, you know, moving, gets my heart going a little bit, you know, and I really have found a new way to kind of connect with myself, you know. You mentioned meditation too, you know. How do you think like yoga and meditation kind of go together?
Well, so what I was taught, but there's many different perspectives, is the movements, like the sole purpose of them were really to get you in a place of stillness. So like, I don't know if you're into like somatics or any of that kind of stuff, but
sure.
like, you know, you got to shake it out, move it out, and then you can go inwards. So the poses are a really great way to strengthen the body. Cause I mean, yogis would do like really intense breath practices that like I've never attempted, you know, and just like really intense things. And so they had to have strong bodies. And in general, your body should be strong. It's ideal, obviously. But also like moving through emotions stuck in the body, moving through thoughts that are stuck in the body. We don't realize how connected our mind and our body is in that way. But for example, in Western psychology, they've now shown that the body keeps the score. Have you heard of?
No.
Have you heard of that? So it's like most of your traumas are stored in your body, not your mind. Your mind, there's only so much you can mind to get out of that. But if you move your body, that's how you can really move through things. So I think yoga kind of knew that. And so I feel like it's so connected. You know, move the body, get connected to your body. That is a meditation. Being with a moving meditation, but a meditation. And then if you really want to sit in stillness in a still meditation, it's just that much easier to be with yourself, because you've acquainted yourself with every muscle, as you've known. If you're doing yoga, it's like every single thing is so adjusted, you know?
Right.
And then you've also, again, like you've allowed energy, emotion to move out of you as well through those movements. So yeah.
Wow, I love that. And so wait, so you mean to tell me that there's trauma like hidden in like my bicep somewhere? Like, is it muscle, or like what do you think?
It really depends on the person. Like
dig a little bit into that, because I think that's a really great point, and I think it can also help people who maybe are struggling with some like mental you know, health issues, that maybe it's not all, you know, stuck up there.
No, totally not.
That they have opportunities to, you know, deal with certain things, and don't have to, you know, it doesn't have to be like a one-track mind.
Yeah, because so like, I mean, I was even taught this before I studied somatics, where we would be teaching hip openers, and we'd be warned by our trainers, like, hey, just so you know, like hip openers move a lot of like sadness and emotion in general. So be aware of that when you're cueing them, like help them breathe through it, you know? So even, just like subtle things in different body parts can hold different things, you know?
Do you, can you give me a possible like experience where you felt that?
Yeah. So let me take a sip of water.
Yeah, of course. I think we'll both do that. Cheers to that.
Yeah. Deer Park.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers. So I'm not gonna get into too many details, but
Yeah.
About 5 years ago, I was dealing with some really tough health issues and also grief and among and other things like that. And during that time, like I had seen like every doctor you could see for these things, and no one had helped me. And my friend actually discovered somatic movement healing, and it's really like you're healing through dance and song.
Love that.
And it's kind of amazing. And I started doing these practices, and among my own, like I would do the guided practices and just like turn on music and do my own.
Yeah.
And I started to feel better.
Like instantly?
Yeah. Like I started noticing a difference immediately. And then within about a month of doing it, a bunch of my health things resolved.
Really?
Yeah. And and I think a lot of it has to do with the stress, like if you're stressed, if you're holding in a lot of intense emotion in your body cannot heal from things that it normally can heal from. Those just get stagnant. But if you let go of that and you start, lowering your cortisol levels, getting into a place of more peace, then your body can, rest and digest, repair. And so that was, I think, a big thing for me. The practices can be anything you want them to be, but they can also be like guided. There's different movements that we as humans have patterns of doing. So like anger will typically kind of do punching motions.
Right.
Disgust, pushing, spitting, gagging. I'm serious. Like those are very
For sure.
So those things can come up.
Bodily functions.
Right. And you can even like kind of bring that about if you're trying to move through it. Like I was trying to move through disgust, and like so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just start spitting.
Oh shoot, there you go.
And so I was like, I've done that. I mean, alone, but I've done that.
Of course.
But then joy. I mean, there's all these different
smiling and laughing.
Right. Yeah, and like and just kind of allowing that to be. I think like as children we were so good at that.
Yeah.
We were so good at like expressing and letting go.
Yes.
Which there's a reason we were taught not to like have a tantrum, but we could have been taught to like, okay, like learn some breath techniques, go to your car, go to your room and let that out physically so you don't hold it.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like directed towards anyone. Or anything.
No, of course.
I think that's the important thing is like, making sure that you're doing that, not like in a controlled setting, but like, I think it has a lot to do with like the intention of it, right? And like, maybe like in your mind, it really made me think about what you were talking about, and with health problems. And I feel like sometimes we, in our mind, like we get so like anxious, about like a specific thing, and we focus on that one thing that like we're not able to. I mean, think about like if you're staring at one specific point, like you're not able to look around and see the other things that are happening. So I feel like that's really important. And yeah, that's great. It's a great. It's an awesome experience to be able to share that, because I feel like there's probably a lot of people out there who can learn from something like that. Do you think that maybe there's something that they can do if they feel like is there like a first step that they can do to maybe like practice something like this? Do you think?
I mean, there's definitely amazing teachers that I do recommend, but there's, I will send you the name of the book and you can put it in the description.
Yeah, we can put it in.
There's a great book about this, and they talk about the 5 rhythms of our body.
Oh, wow.
And they kind of just teach the basics of it in that book, but also like you have feet that can move, walk around your space.
Yeah.
You have arms, maybe give them a little shake.
Yeah.
Your breath, great place to start.
Yeah, that's so important.
And then doing guided movements can really help, like doing like yoga, something like that, before you can maybe enter that more free movement space could maybe be good for certain people as well, to give yourself structure first.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see maybe some people kind of like going right into something like that, and maybe like, I don't know, like, tearing or like hurting something like.
Oh, no, so that was advanced. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
like the stuff that I did, I mean, I am already a dancer. Like I already dance. I think for me, it was really easy to fall into this. I was like, you know what? This is awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
You kind of just like maybe like incorporated two birds with one stone there, right?
Yeah, I think the big difference though is dance. Sorry, I'm cold. Can I get my jacket?
Yeah, of course. Here, I'll get it for you.
Yeah.
So you were talking about mixing dancing and yoga, right?
Yes, I am in my jacket now, everyone.
Yes.
I got cold. So now I have a cloak. Yeah, so, oh yeah. So dance a lot of times is taught in a very structured way.
Okay.
Flow dance, which is what I do now, very not structured.
Okay.
To a degree. I mean, there's structure within it, but it's also like you get that freedom.
Okay.
Embodiment's all like anti-structure. It's like do your thing, let it flow. If you need some structure, like a guide can kind of bring you back to center, but
like like an actual person.
Yeah, like a person, a recording, whatever.
Okay.
Or if you just kind of understand the knowledge of it, you can check with yourself while you're doing it.
Gotcha.
But I feel like the nice thing about it is that there isn't like a right or a wrong. It just teaches you to follow your body.
Yeah. Yeah, love that. Tell me a little bit more about dance and how dance has influenced you since you were younger. Because the one reason why I want you to talk about this is because when we were at the most recent, not this past one, but before the Rhythm Royale. That Matthew Grube, the producer here, puts on. You were not only singing, but you were dancing as well, like together, and you just seemed like you were so free and like you just didn't have anything on your mind. And I was like, man, I could take a note from her book, and I did, I kind of like after that when I sang, I was just kind of a little bit more like, let's see here, limber, and I was able to move around, so it was cool.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that helped.
Yeah, it did 100%. And I think other people like learned from it as well. Like I was even talking to someone else and they were like, I love how she's just like so free up there, just like moving around. You don't see people like mix the mediums,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, they're either just like they're singing and they're kind of just like really rigid, and like there's some people who like you can tell that are like, man, like I wish that person would like just be a little bit more free with themselves, because then you could tell that like they could even express themselves, a little more. So dance, where did this all come from?
Honestly, I did musical theater growing up, and then I stopped around like high school.
Okay.
But I feel like that gave me a really good background because I learned a lot of different types of dance. Performing, you just get more comfortable with. Mm-hmm. But then I feel like I lost touch with it for a little bit, to be honest. Like, I think I got more rigid because you start to get taught, like, if you've ever been in like chorus or anything like that, they kind of are like, you need to like stand still.
Oh, dude, I do remember that, the way that they did teach you about, the fact that like, and why I'm curious as to why they would do that.
Honestly, I have no idea. Like, it baffles me. But
yeah, it doesn't make too much sense.
I mean, to each their own, but I don't think a lot of people resonate with that anymore.
Yeah.
So, it's maybe a little bit dated.
Okay, makes sense.
But yeah, I think I kind of lost touch with it a little bit, and I got more stiff, and like, like certain people, I think people can be haters sometimes and just like make fun of people just because they want something they have or they feel bad about themselves. So, I had some people like make fun of me on stage being a certain way, and then I felt really stiff about it after. It made me really stiff. Okay. I wouldn't say very stiff, but stiffer. Like, I would never do what I did here when I was in high school. Like, I would have been so nervous to do that.
Right.
I just hope that can help people kind of, if they've been there, it's like, like that really sucks when that happens. But then like I got a little older and I joined the burn community, and I was like, these people rock. Like,
yes.
You know what I mean? Like, they're all just like completely just like artsy weirdos, and like they do not care how they look. They do not judge each other. In fact, they encourage each other to act and be as silly as they want.
Yeah, love that. Embrace the weirdness.
Yeah, so then I was like, wait, this is like what I've always been, but I've been hiding it.
And there's fire?
And, oh yeah, that came later. But but yeah, that the fire was also cool to see them doing that. At the time I didn't dance with fire. I was just like, wow, that's so cool. Yeah, so that was really inspiring to me. And then I just like one night just at a burn just started dancing like I do, and just being wild, and people were like, that was awesome. And I was like, I didn't even know anyone was watching. Like,
was there anything specifically that inspired you to do that?
Yes.
Was there? Okay. We don't have to
we won't discuss it here.
No, but that's it's good to know that there was, a straw that broke the camel's back that, kind of inspired you to make a change. So hopefully, other people listening know that, like, at any moment there can be one small thing or one large thing that helps them kind of move in a direction that maybe they've been wanting to move in that they didn't even know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then after that, yeah, like I just feel like I think it was like, it wasn't just like this immediate thing, but it just started to like, I just progressively got more confident. And then I would say, honestly, my biggest peak of it was when I started doing somatics to heal myself. That was when I really was like, I don't care about anything anymore. Like, I'm just going to like be myself.
Oh, I love that.
I was like, I've felt and seen enough. I'm good.
Let's see here. Gosh. Okay. So we've talked about dancing. We talked about yoga. Tell me a little bit about your singing background and where that comes from, and where that comes from.
Yeah. Like I said, I always was singing. I just always loved singing. But I got my first voice lessons when I was 14.
Okay.
And I did that throughout most of high school, and then afterwards I continued. And, eventually I found this vocal coach who did, I think it's called vocal pedagogy.
Oh, cool.
And she was a big deal for me because it wasn't just the standard, like, classical techniques that they teach. It was like practical for a pop singer, or pop, I say pop as in like anything that's not classical.
Gotcha.
And she helped me to really find the strength in my voice, not the upper register, but just like in general.
Okay, gotcha.
So that I feel like, and a lot of that has to do with just believing in yourself. I noticed it was like, there was techniques, but a lot of it was like, trust that you can do this.
Yeah.
Trust that your voice can do that. What's holding you back more than anything is your tension. Your fear is holding your voice back.
You know what? It's funny that you say that. I've recently, within the past few years, have been able to learn about the tension that we're holding inside here through my vocal coach, Chrysaline. And what she did? She actually went under like MRI machines, and she studies music through science.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I think you would really appreciate her teachings. So she went under an MRI machine and a CAT scan machine, like as she was singing. And then also through like when, most of like the tenseness occurs in people, and like scientifically it shows you that, but the way that you said it though, like the fear kind of like I didn't really make the connection of the fear that much, but like you're so right that most people are kind of just like holding back when really if they believed in themselves and trusted in themselves. And I think it also has to do with like not worrying if other people are judging them.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I feel like, how do you feel like judgments of people kind of, why do you think that holds people back so much?
Survival. It's an ancient instinct. Like, if the tribe rejected you, then you would die. I'm serious.
Right?
Like, so you genuinely think, like, primally, it's like, I'm going to die. You're not going to, though. So that can help to know that, too. To be like, hey, like, I'm afraid right now, but there's not an actual threat. I feel like the other thing is like when I notice that, I can't really stop my fear per se, but just like be with it.
Yeah.
Just like be okay with it. And like the more you just kind of are with it, the more you can like see through it, you know?
Be one with your fear. Gosh, how can you, I think it would be good to kind of dig into that for a second. You know, when, say, someone is thinking about being judged or thinking about, you know, someone else, you know, saying something negative about them, what do you think, you know, they can think inside? You know, what do you think they can think in order to know that it's okay? You know, kind of, do you have any advice for that? I mean,
I
what's
think
the thought process, right?
Sorry, say it one more time. I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Say someone is having a hard time with feeling judged, or you know, that the people around them maybe are being judgmental. Now, obviously, like changing their scene and setting can be a main thing, but like, you know, what do you think they like, either like a mantra or like something that maybe they can tell themselves that will help them kind of be loose a little bit, and to really, because you're free, you know, you really seem like you have a lot of control over your mind, body, and your spirit. You know, how can you just maybe like one or two ways to advise people to be able to do the same?
It's going to seem kind of counterintuitive, but it's almost like knowing that you don't have control over your mind, but that your mind isn't you. So it's like starting to be more of a witness and less of a player in the game. Like, let the mind kind of talk, but understand that you're more than just your mind.
Yeah.
You know? And it's actually a yogic mantra is, I'm not my body, I am not even my mind, I am Atman, which means I am like the universal consciousness. I'm so much more than just this, you know, and remembering that. And even like remembering that about the people who are making you feel bad.
Yeah.
Can help. And that doesn't mean you have to forgive them, because like, when you're mad, just let yourself feel it, is how I see it. Like, don't be like, I love everyone. That doesn't work. It just doesn't. Like, you're just going to,
you're so right.
You're just going to be repressing that, and you're just going to, it's going to come out sideways.
Yeah.
But just understanding that can help too.
Yeah.
I feel like. And yeah, just kind of being with yourself, and the somatics can really help there too.
Love that. To the somatics, what do you think? Is there maybe like an outlet that you can recommend for people to find somatics, or maybe like playlists on like Apple or something? How can people find something like that?
I can also like put some, give you some people, but there's a really wonderful teacher named Maya Knight. She has some free content on her Instagram, on her website. And she's the person who I was following initially, and I highly recommend her work.
Awesome.
She's really great. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll include that in the link below. Let's see here. Okay. So yeah, we've talked about, let's talk a little bit more about how many different vocal instructors have you had in the past?
4, 3, something like that.
Okay. And what do you feel like?
4. Sorry.
Have you learned something? Did they all seem to kind of like teach the same thing, or just like not like to a degree that maybe you were like needed to learn, or like, you know, do you feel like you could have learned the same amount of information from, you know, one person if you would have maybe stuck with them for like that longevity of time? Or do you feel like different vocal teachers have like different things to offer?
Yeah, for me, I think having different ones was really important. I think the initial like classical training can really help with just like getting involved with your breath and like learning the basic techniques. I think eventually, like when I progressed, it kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, like, but how do I apply this to pop music? You know? And so having that teacher who really specialized in that was really great.
Yeah.
You know?
Sounds like it would be. And I'm sure like, yeah, depending on what that instructor has learned, you know, that's going to be the thing that they maybe teach you about, or the things that they maybe will dig into, you know. Let's see here. What about you do some modeling as well? Yeah, tell me a little bit about how that started, and kind of what direction you took that since you started.
Yeah, How did I start? So it was kind of an accident. I I was getting hit up by photographers, and my friend as a joke was like, "Wouldn't it be funny if you like made a modeling page and just like saw if that worked out?" And I was like, "Huh, yeah." I'm so short though, I doubt it. And I discovered, and I think there's a big misconception about what modeling is and like that world, and there is many different genres. And so I am a fine art or art model.
Oh, cool.
Specifically. I mean, I do other genres, but primarily you would categorize me as an art model. And that doesn't just mean for painters, that means like the fine arts, the arts in general.
Gotcha.
So like my photos are like the ones that you would see in like galleries, museums versus like a runway model. You know, she's going to walk the runway.
Words. Got words.
I'm cold. Words are not happening. Words are not wording. You know, so anyway, so that was really cool to even discover that because like as a kid, I always would watch like America's Next Top Model and stuff. And I was like, oh, that looks like such a fun way to express yourself. Mm-hmm. But I'll never be able to do it.
I'm sure there's that thought, you know, in the back of your mind. What are some of the other ways, or what are some of the other forms of modeling other than like fine art? You know, what would some of the...
There's like glamour modeling, which would be more like Playboy style.
Gotcha. Okay.
There is like catalog modeling, commercial modeling. There's so many different things.
Gotcha.
You know, like you could model for commercials for pharmaceutical company. I mean, that's commercial modeling. But,
Gotcha.
But that's like, I mean, I know of models who plan to model for their whole life, and that's their plan, is to start doing pharmaceutical modeling, you know, for hemorrhoid creams and stuff. I don't know.
Right? To each her own, right? Yeah. Well, I think the fact that like there are so many different worlds upon worlds out there, and I think like even like as far as, you know, a young woman who's out there, like who, you know, sees particular modeling opportunities. Is there anything that like, let's see here, is there anything that you saw when you were younger that inspired you to become a model? Was there anything that like, you know, any like artists or, let's see here, not like, I guess like painters, but like maybe artists that like influenced you when you were younger, like with either modeling or just influenced you in general?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so I was obsessed with nude art. Like, I just thought it was so cool. And so I had like a Tumblr, and I would like look at and like repost photos and just like, I don't even know who these photographers were, honestly.
Right.
Like, I just loved it. I remember I have an aunt and uncle in California. So they were like very progressive, and like her sister was Tammy Sternak, who is the Neverending Story princess.
Okay.
So and she's an amazing, she doesn't really act anymore, but she does like just like beautiful dance in New York City. And so I saw this photo on their wall of her, and she's naked dancing with this male dancer, and it's a beautiful photo. Beautiful. She's an amazing dancer. And I was like a kid, and I was like, why is Tammy naked?
Right? I'm sure that
and
thought's going to cross your mind.
Yeah, I was like, what's this? And like, I liked it though. And she was like, oh, that's like my sister. Like, you know, she's dancing here. And I was like, oh, like she's naked? And she's like, yeah, that's art. It's nude art.
Right.
And I think it's a beautiful photo, so that's why it's on my wall.
Yeah, love that.
And that kind of stuck with me, where I was like, you know, like, I think just hearing that voice where it's like she recognized that as art, like I love that form of art. So that was one of the main arts I really loved initially, was just like figure work, creating like raw energy from the body, just like with nothing else there intervening on it. I just think there's a lot to it. There's a lot that can be expressed, and there's like a vulnerability to it that you can't really emulate with anything else.
I feel like you have to be, you have to think a little bit deeper in order to understand it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, let me ask you this. Was the photo black and white?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like, okay, so there's not as much color involved. Right. And then there's not as much like, I mean, clothing, we use clothing as like accentuation,
Right.
you know, and colors themselves and like, you know, different patterns, you know, so you don't have any of that to kind of like, you know, influence you.
Yeah.
So instead, it's really just, I think it has a lot to do with maybe like the setting that they're in too, right? Was it was it also set in like front of like a psych wall, like a cyclorama wall, where it's like no shadows or anything like that?
Yeah, it's just like dark and
Yeah.
like very high contrast lighting, and
Yeah, I could see that. So yeah, I do feel like you have to have like a certain taste for something like that.
Yeah, and also like I mean I love art in nature, like and maybe in nature you will wear something. You might wear like a white gown.
Yeah.
Or like fabric or something.
Yeah.
But you notice like not much. You don't need much.
Yeah,
it's
you don't.
nature. Like we are nature.
Ooh.
Right? We are nature.
Love that.
And
That
then when
is
you're
so
in
cool.
it, it's just kind of like everything goes together. You know?
Yeah, I love that. I really want to incorporate more of that with my music. And I had like this dream one night where there was like this model and she was naked. And like, but like there was this feeling that I had, and like I wasn't even in it. It was just my music and her. And like I woke up the next morning and I had this feeling that like I was like, man, like this is something that can really help me express my music in a different way. Unfortunately, I didn't act on it immediately, you know, so the feeling itself, and the inspiration behind it kind of, you know, became lackluster. But that, you know, the idea still exists in my mind. And, you know, I really want to incorporate, I mean, and, you know, granted, she doesn't have to be naked, but at the same time, like, I really do feel like incorporating like a female body into like my music and like the way that it is perceived, I think can really be, you know, helpful in me experiencing and trying new mediums and ways of reaching, you know, new people. So I think you're going to inspire that out of me.
Yeah, you should play with it. I mean, like, because it seems like so outlandish, but then in action, it's actually a really common form of art, and a lot of people do it, and a lot of people love it.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure. Let's see here. Who were some of the, I know you were speaking about, when we had that conversation on the phone, you were speaking about an artist that really inspired you, that was more, was, I don't know if it was poetry or what, do you have a?
Just like film,
Film, yeah.
and also just like all of his tarot book and a lot of his work. Alejandro Jodorowsky.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about him and what inspired you, you know.
Oh yeah, water. Let's
Yep,
do
water time.
Water. It's important to stay hydrated, people.
Let's do it.
Okay. H2O. This is a huge bottle. Like
I know, the thing is big as you.
it's like really excessive. I wasn't thinking about it when it happened.
Yeah, right. You're like,
Here we are.
I need water for my conversation.
Like,
you have
okay.
enough though.
Do we have plenty?
Right.
So yeah, I like love his movies. The Holy Mountains, like maybe the most famous one. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't, but I'll look into it after this.
And his movies, like he bases a lot of his concepts off of the tarot.
Okay.
So if you like study his book at all, or if you even like know a little bit about tarot, you can kind of see it like intertwine in his movies, which is really cool.
Tell people what is tarot for people who don't know what
God.
the tarot is. I know, right? We have to kind of
describe
pretend.
tarot.
Sometimes you have to pretend like people don't, you know, understand everything that we're saying. I think, right? So
Yeah, I'm like trying to think of. I mean, in a way, like tarot isn't like a lot of people see it as like future telling, but it's more so like looking into your psyche. And it was like the original way of doing that. Like they would use these cards in order to tap into different parts of our psyche. And so Alejandro Jodorowsky is so interesting because he, and I do not remember the name of the guy he did it with, which is terrible because I should, but I will.
You'll find out.
I'll find out.
Again.
It'll come back to me. I'm not great with names, but they spent like a lot of their life's work on recreating the Tarot de Marseille, which was one of the most ancient tarot decks. And so
cool.
they basically went around the world finding the original art. Like the original art. They went like to museums, I mean, like everywhere. I mean, you know, and Alejandro Jodorowsky's from Latin America, but then he was in France when he was doing this project, and they still continue to travel. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure they had to find some of these things.
Yeah, and so they managed to do it though.
Oh wow!
So you can buy it. It's the Tarot de Marseille, the Cameroon edition.
Oh cool!
And I have it. It's like really cool.
Nice.
But if you look at these cards, you really do. It like invokes. It invokes part of your consciousness that I can't even really explain. You just kind of have to look at the cards yourself.
Love that. And you mean like invoke, like it invokes like let's see here. What does it invoke? What do you mean by that?
Like different archetypes within us all. You know?
Love that. Good way of describing.
And what I find really interesting about this deck is, and maybe this is getting into too many details, but
that's what we're here
the
for.
minor arcana, which is like, there's like the major one, which is like the story is like the fool goes on a journey to see the world, and it's like, you know, the main cards that people might know about. But then there's the minor ones, which is like the Eight of Cups. It's like all the numbers. And, you know, all of those ones, they're very abstract. Like they're not like a picture of a guy or anything. They're all like coins, and like there's like flowers drawn around them in different ways. And it's like, it's so like abstract that it really gets you thinking on a much deeper level. Like you're not, there isn't anyone else's consciousness that's been projected on it. And that's kind of what this deck represented, was like, we're not projecting our own views, my own experience of my psyche onto this deck. This deck allows you to connect to your own psyche and project your own experiences into this deck for yourself.
Let me ask you, do you feel like in the world that we live in, do you feel like we are projected upon with you know, either ideas or thoughts or ways of thinking? Of
course. I mean, social media is the most perfect example of that. I actually recently had a realization about this. My friend, actually, I'm very grateful for her for bringing this up. There's like this perfectionism that I feel like so many of us have that we don't even realize we have. And like for me, it was manifesting in like health and like wellness and stuff, where I'm like, I have to go to bed at this time, and I have to do this, and I have to eat like that. And I was like this is insane. Like, this is not fun. Like, this is not okay. And I was talking to her about some like anxieties I was having, and she was like, you know, social media is really like subtly projected all these ideas onto us of perfectionism. Yeah. And like, you know, we're human. You know, and a lot of these people are just trying to sell you a product anyway. Yeah. Like most of these people are trying to sell you a product, or their program, or their coaching. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to be aware that that's what's happening. Yeah. You know, that subconsciously you have to understand, you know, what do you think that people are using it for? Do you feel like people are using it properly? Like, how many of the percentage of people do you really feel like understand that that's even happening? I can't tell you that, but I do think a lot of us aren't aware of it. Yeah. Gotcha. I mean, my guess would be a lot of us aren't aware of it. I mean, there's such an uptick in like plastic surgeries and just like insecurities and stuff. I think that's really big in our culture right now. Yeah, you're right about that. Let's see here. We kind of dug into a few different things here. Is there, let's see here. I think we were talking about, gosh, I know we were talking about some of the inspiration that you have and had, but tell me a little bit more about what you have for the future. You were talking about an EP that you're coming out with sometime soon? Or? Yeah, I'm recording an EP, not an album. Gosh, an EP with a live band. So it's just, I'm really excited because I just feel like that's so the vibe that I've been missing, is just having that like the real musician full effect. Yeah, so I'm really excited for that.
So what would you have? A drummer, a bassist, a guitar player?
And then I'll play keys sometimes.
Oh, cool.
Not for all the songs, but
okay.
For most of them, I'll be on keys. So,
okay,
yeah.
Nice. All right. So wait, the piano. How long have you been playing the?
Since I was a kid. I wouldn't say I'm good, but like I've been writing songs since I was a kid, so I am more. I would say my skill as a songwriter is higher than my skills on the piano.
Okay.
But like I play the piano. I just I wouldn't like. There's some people I know that are just like insanely good keyboardists.
Yeah.
And I think I'm like really good, but I'm not like I haven't become like the next Beethoven. You know, in that department. But don't you love musicians talking bad about ourselves?
right. I guess there's always another musician that's better than you out
that's a
there.
Good point. See, there's an insecurity that came out.
Right. Well, I'm here to help you through it. Okay. So let's see here. There was something else I wanted to ask you. Oh, when it comes to songwriting, how often do you find yourself writing music?
I sometimes will have waves where I don't write as much.
Okay.
Like I'll have maybe a couple weeks where I'm just not super into it, and then it comes back. And I think there's like a wave with it.
Yeah, nice.
With my sound healing, I feel like it's like a more consistent flow though, because it's not. There's like no lyrics that are like pressurized. Like I'm not writing a whole story for you. Like I'm writing like more of like an expressive story, which is, it's just like almost like more feminine, I guess, like the more feminine side of music. So that's been really fun because I just feel so prolific. It's like I make something and it's there.
Yeah.
Tell
us a little bit about that page and what it is and how people can find it. I'll definitely be putting a link underneath here. But tell me, who is it with?
Austin Litz.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's called Katriella and Litz.
Yes.
Yeah.
And wait a second, where did this idea, just so you know, I am a subscribing member, just so you know, I found her page and found their page, and I was extremely inspired by it. And like they had released something that day, that just shows you like the time, attention, and creativity that they are putting into it. But tell me, where did that idea come from, and where have you taken it since the beginning?
Yeah, I've wanted to do sound healing for so long. I just didn't know how.
Like, and wait, what is sound healing? Describe sound healing to someone.
It's sort of like intentional frequency therapy is how I would say.
Oh, wow.
I would describe it. But sound therapy, in my opinion, is also like whatever it is for you. Like if you find it healing to listen to heavy metal, then like I think that's sound therapy. But
that's a good point.
But at the same time, I will say like we do use certain frequencies and intentionality to what we're doing, even certain vowels, sometimes certain sounds, that are specific to healing maybe different chakras, different centers of the body, different organs even.
Wow.
So, it can go pretty deep. It just depends on, I guess, the individual though, and like what they resonate with. And
so when before you make a video, do you have these vowels and these things kind of, set to like how much planning and preparation, if you don't mind me asking, go into something like that? Because it seems like a lot. It
is, but it also isn't. Like it is, like we are very intentional with what we do, but at the same time, there's this flow element to it where you're like, what's going to be the most resonant is if we're in the right vibe. So if you overthink it, it's just going to be stiff.
Yeah.
And I've made videos where I was definitely like really overthinking it, and I'm like, those ones didn't do so well.
Gotcha.
It's so interesting how that works. It's like they can just feel that.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, like there's a lot that we put into this, like a lot. We put a lot of hard work into it.
Of course.
But at the same time, like what's more important is actually the vibes.
Yeah.
Like in really just wanting to resonate that healing frequency with others and connect to them in that way.
Yeah, I can also, and what about you? Like, what do you feel like you get out of it?
I just love it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
so
I
great.
can see it though. I can tell that the way that you present yourself, I feel like you probably actually get the most out of what you're delivering to these people because, and the audience, because, you are actually the one who is like 100% kind of centered with what you're delivering. And I can really tell that your emotion is in like every single syllable. And I can tell, it's funny to like kind of like hear you and see how small you are, and then like kind of like hear some of the sounds that you're able to create, you know. What about like post production? Is there any post production that is involved with it?
Yeah, you know, you have to edit the video, the sound design and all of that. So yeah, there's definitely post production that like that's a big thing.
And are you involved in like the sound design as well? Do you sit with Austin and kind of like, you know, come up with that as well?
I mean, he's the audio engineer for sure, but we will listen together and kind of like bounce off each other. And, but yeah, he's definitely, I would say, like really, really good at audio engineering. It's like one of his passions in life and he loves it. So, I mean, I think that really helps too, is that he really loves that part.
Yeah.
You know,
you can tell.
Yeah.
And you can hear it. So that's really cool. Let's see here. I think we went over, you know, a lot of good stuff here. Is there anything that maybe we didn't mention that you wanted to either talk about that you have going on, or that, you know, you've either done, are doing now, or have in the future that you want to bring some light to?
I mean, you know, I'm still doing my sound healing channel. I would love it if you guys checked it out.
Awesome.
We've got a lot of great content coming up. I mean, we try to have 2 videos a week.
Yeah.
So we're really we try to keep it going so that people can have that with them every week. This is not like an official concept, but I do want to start talking more on that channel. So that's up in the air, but that's something that I think would be really cool to do. So
just kind of like guiding people.
Yeah. Like guided meditations, maybe even just like bringing in some various insights throughout the month.
Yeah.
So that would be, I think that's something I really want to start doing, is bringing my voice in other ways there as well.
Love that. So, yeah, that's so cool. Make sure you go check out her channel here. I have some cool little questions here that we're gonna, we're gonna go through here. We usually do like a rapid fire. Okay, so with this, I mean, we do want to try and be, because we could like talk about some of these things for a very long time,
right.
But we want to try and hit as many as possible.
I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit warmer, and it's, of course, we're almost done.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, I'm like, yeah, everything's great.
Right. And it's back to like, you know, that tenseness, you know, and when you're cold though,
I know,
like
it's
tense
so hard.
up, dude.
I know.
You know? Okay, so try and get a little warm
Get some
here.
warmth coming.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Hey, bring it on. Bring on
that
Okay,
warmth.
you ready? All right. Can you do an impression of someone in your family? Let's see it.
Oh.
Yeah, just do
Am I
it.
gonna
Come
piss
on.
off today?
Yeah, come on. Just do it. Just do somebody.
Oh my God.
Come on. You got this.
I'm doing the cat.
Yes, there you go. Perfect. Okay. Okay, name another country you want to visit.
Oh, Greece.
And why?
Beautiful. I want to go to the Greek islands.
Ooh, I just went there last year. Ooh,
Oh, you did?
I did.
I'm jealous.
Dude, I have an island, Milos, you have to go to.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, remind me of that.
Okay, for sure. All right, what question do you wish people would ask you more often?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if I need people to ask me questions more often.
No, but that's a good one. Is there any question that maybe like I guess I did just ask you like 1,000 questions too, so.
Okay, what question do I think people should ask me more often? Why aren't we all dancing right now?
Oh, there you go.
There you
All
go.
right, put it in the books. I think mine would be are you okay? Like, are you okay? Like, do you know, like, is there anything that you want to talk, you need to talk about?
Yeah.
You know?
I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever eaten something weird just to see how it tastes?
Yeah, I feel like everyone has, right?
Yeah.
Like someone's like, "This is disgusting," and you're like, "Let me see.
Yeah.
Let's try it."
Have you ever tried one of the hot chips? It's like a one chip. I forget what it's called.
Like
it's
the hot Cheetos? Or...
It's not hot Cheetos.
I've had
It's like
those.
a one chip that's got like the crazy amount of spice, but it's only one chip.
No,
No,
what is this?
trust me, you don't want to do
It's
this.
a singular chip.
It's a singular chip.
In
It's
like a
that
bag,
hot.
or does it
comes
does
in
it have
like
a
little
box?
box?
It's a box with
It's
one
in a
chip.
box, one chip.
Okay, I gotta see what this looks like.
Yeah, you got to see.
I don't know if I'm gonna eat it, but I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Would you rather have the ability to fly or to read minds?
Nope, I would fly.
Yeah.
I don't want to read your mind. I'm
Yeah,
good.
right,
So
right.
good on that.
I don't want to read my own mind sometimes. Jeez.
That seems very loud.
All right. Wait, my mind does? My mind seems loud?
All minds.
All minds,
All
yeah.
minds.
My mind is extra.
Mine's loud.
Yeah, extra.
Yeah, very extra.
All right, you ready? What's the best ice cream topping?
Anything chocolate.
Yeah,
I think anything chocolate would be
For
good,
sure.
especially dark chocolate.
yeah, for sure. Would you ever want someone to throw you a surprise party?
I mean, yeah.
Ah, duh. That's
That's
an
fun.
easy one. Come on. All right, if you had to move someplace you've been to on vacation, where would it be?
Guatemala.
Okay, so you've been there.
Yeah, my sister lives there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right, shout out to sis.
Yeah.
All right, what is your favorite form of potatoes?
Sweet potato, the Japanese sweet potatoes, baked.
What?
Yes,
Okay, dude,
those are the ones.
you need to put me on.
Just baked. That's all
Okay.
you need because they're like soft and sweet and delicious. I hate the word moist,
Cook
but they
those
are
up.
moist enough. I mean, that's the word that you use to
They're-
describe
they're
it.
moist.
I mean, you know,
They're, what can we say? They're
it's like they don't
moist.
even need butter. They're just like on their own.
They're buttery already.
They're buttery already.
All right. Okay. Describe the person. Never mind. You can't describe the person to the right of you. You don't.
You don't know my life.
You don't know. I love that. All right. Describe what you think your life will look like when you're 85.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, good one.
I will be in a cottage in the woods as an old crone, and I will have a lot of plants around me and hopefully grandchildren. And I will be friends with insects, snakes, cats, and other various animals.
Those are their homies.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. You say you're with the gang, basically.
Basically, yeah.
All right. Last one. Tell us your ideal packed lunch.
Oh, as a kid, I don't know why I really liked those Lunchables. I don't like them anymore, but as a kid, it was so novel. My mom's like, they're bad for you. So I would probably, as a child, choose that.
Which one, though?
Like, there was like a pizza one.
Yeah.
I liked that one. Yeah.
The pizza one.
one.
Oh, man. When's the last time you had one of those?
I literally don't even know. Like, it's been so long.
You should, dude.
I think yeah.
You should make, dude, because you had to make them. You had the sauce and you had the
They're
little...
probably so bad for you.
Oh, I've heard they are, although I guess every now and then it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have one last segment here. I have a phone somewhere here. Wait.
I do this all the time. I understand how it
Oh, here it
feels.
is. Okay. All right. So wait a second.
Oh my god, we got an old phone.
Oh, no, I'm about to
Wait, is this from what is this from, like the 90s?
Maybe even the 80s.
I
The
feel like
70s.
I'm watching
It could
like
be.
Friends or something.
This
Like,
is the first cell phone ever made, just so you know. And ring, ring, ring. Oh, wait, what's that sound? Oh, okay. This is Katriella, the young Katriella, the young innocent Katriella. Okay, wait a second.
You don't know me.
I have somebody. I have somebody here who wants to have a conversation with you and tell you something. Yes, right here. Here you go.
oh, hello there. This is like psych word worthy.
Yeah, it's okay. We're here. We're here.
We're here. We're with it. This is somatic. Okay. Don't be afraid of so much because, a lot of things actually aren't that scary. If you walk up to the lion, you'll realize it's just a tiny cat. Seriously, get on stage, shake it. Trust your instincts. Your intuition's actually always right. Trust me on that. Someone's going to say otherwise. And don't hold back. Yeah.
Tell her you love her.
I love you.
Yeah, hey, listen, you end up being a pretty awesome human, and don't change a thing, and do exactly what she just told you. All right.
She's fighting you on it, I know.
You ready? Bye. Awesome. Oh, that was so cool. Awesome.
That's
Good
fun.
job. Good job. Well, hey, I want to thank you for joining us. And I think the best way to end this will be a breathing exercise, maybe just a few minutes, kind of.
Yeah. Okay, water break first. Water.
Yeah, water
Get your
break.
water in. My giant
Yeah.
freaking. We're not sponsored by Deer Park, but it certainly looks that way.
Dear Lord. Okay.
Like, is this even allowed? Like, I don't even
Is that
know.
legal?
Like,
Is that a legal
am
size?
I allowed to be doing this? Like, I don't know.
Okay. Breathing
But
exercise.
in all realness. Okay, so I'm going to sit cross-legged
Okay.
because it's more comfortable.
Okay.
If you want to, you can.
Yeah.
So sit comfortably wherever you are. You can bring the palms face up on your legs. Taking a moment to feel your sit bones connecting to the surface below you. Connecting to your natural rhythm of breath. Just bringing awareness. Now with each inhale, I want you to imagine that there are roots extending down from your sit bones all the way through into the earth. So with each inhale, breathing in, the roots are extending down, down into the earth below you. Rooting you deeper and deeper with each inhale. Now with each exhale, imagining that the roots are becoming thicker and more robust, more solidly rooted. So you inhale, the roots grow deeper. Exhale, the roots grow more robust. Continuing this flow. Now bring awareness back to your body now that you are firmly rooted. And I want you to imagine that there is a white light surrounding you, like an aura or a force field that surrounds you. You can also imagine it like a bubble. And positive, happy energy and things dance around this light. Imagining joy, love, and peaceful energies dancing around this aura. And any energies that do not serve you simply fizzle away upon touching this light and are repurposed in the universe into something else. Imagining those energies just fizzling away. Now take a deep breath in. Exhale it out the mouth. One more deep breath in. Exhale it out the mouth. Remembering that you can always tap into this protective light that surrounds you. I like to think of it like we are cells and this is our cell membrane. And it actually keeps the whole system of the universe healthy when we stay within our membrane. And we can still be equally as close and as loving to others, even within this cell membrane. And you can take your hands to the heart. Namaste. I bow to you. The light in me sees the light in you.
That was perfect.
I did say mouse membrane, but it's okay.
No, the imperfectness makes it perfect.
I'm just kidding.
Love that. Well, hey, thank you so much for that. And thank you all for joining us for this episode of Respecting Perspectives. We will see you on the flip side. Peace.